Hello everyone, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to forge a heart. So today I am working on forging some skillet handles. These are for an anniversary style pan that I make. And they have a heart finial on the end of them. So we're starting with 1/4 by 1 inch flat stock. And essentially the way this is going to work, let me make sure everything's in shot. It is. We're going to split the end of the bar, just like so. For some of you professional guys out there, or just the plain good old-fashioned know-it-alls, you already know where I'm going with this. But for the rest of us, we can stay tuned for this portion. You can move ahead and move forward if you need to. So, essentially, the way we forge a heart is we split the tines out for the heart, the individual corners of the heart. We're going to start with something that looks like this. And if you give me 1 second, go ahead and clean that up. Get my little magic eraser here. And we're going to forge that out into something that approximately resembles this. Okay? Hopefully a little more even than what I drew it there. So we're going to draw out each one of those tines. And then the next step in the process is we're going to take and actually bend these tines out. Like so. I'll draw that so you guys can see how that'll look. Please forgive the drawing. I know it's getting horrible, but you guys get the point. And then the last step is we curl these back in on themselves to form the heart. So there's some real quick tricks. Well, there's a couple tricks to doing this. Anytime that you work with 2 tines, it's very difficult when you're starting to make the individual bends of the heart. Okay? Every time that you try to make the individual bends of the heart, one of the other legs is getting in the way. And that's really the biggest, I would say, pain in the butt thing about making these. Other than that, they're pretty good. They go pretty quick and easy. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get over to the forge and we will start doing this. I won't show the cutting of the material. You can pretty much just guess. I'm going to be using my angle grinder, and I'm just going to be using a cutoff wheel, the Linux Metal Max that I just bought, because that's what I have on hand. If you have just regular abrasive wheels, that works too. Also, a bandsaw is a really nice way of cutting these. If you have a bandsaw available to you that's all set up on a stand. Right now, I have a bandsaw, but it's not on a stand, so it's a porta bandsaw. So we won't be doing that. So anyways, we are going to cut this. I won't show that, but the next time you see me, we'll be over at the forge, and I'll show you the method of drawing out these tines and doing a little heart. Alright everyone, the first trick to this is to take and bend one of your legs down and out of the way. You don't want to be forging against the corner of the anvil. You just want to be using it to hold, to forge out your legs at right angles from one another. So we want this leg to come back a little further, and we want this leg to straighten up a little bit so we can actually forge it out in the next heat and be able to start lengthening these legs out into long tapers. And you can see how quickly this goes, just like so. And then we'll have to come back in here and hit it, and so on and so forth. But there is a trick to doing this, and that trick is this initial bend has to be really short and to the point. You don't want to be bending back up in here with the handle. You want to be bending just right where you need the heat. So if you're working in a gas forge, you'll have to cool off this section up to where you want your bend to be. Or if you're lucky enough to have a coal forge, you can heat it right there on the core area. So that's what we're going to keep on doing here. I'm going to heat it up again. Doesn't take a whole bunch of time. Once you got it nice and hot, we'll make sure we're still in camera here. Yeah, you guys can mostly see all that. Looks like it's alright. So we'll get this nice and hot. I'm off camera. Getting it nice and hot. Trying to bring it up to temp again. Okay, it's going to be a second or two. I just started the coal forge, so it's not up to full temp. So I'll be right back with you guys. Alright, this is heat number 2. This isn't as hot as I would like to work it, but we're going to go with it. Just start stretching these out a little bit. Got a little mishap there. This is where good hammer control pays to be accurate. As I had suggested in the hammer techniques video, it pays off in the long run. Be accurate with hammer blows. These are on the, these will be fixed and dressed out a little later. I'm not too worried about them. But if this is a critical stage in forging, you won't want to do that. So that's good enough. So we'll just keep drawing this out. I'll come back when it's up to heat. Okay, I've got this next heat here. One thing I'd like to say is, once you guys start getting the hang of doing this, you know, learning a good proper hammer technique, this type of work goes pretty darn quick. It's not as hard as we first make it out to be when we're just learning. It's just a little intimidating when you're first learning to do this type of stuff. It seems like everything's particularly difficult because you haven't learned to have a proper forging control yet. Stuff like that. Give it time. You'll get there. Just focus on the work itself and make it look good. This here, I'm not doing any sort of forging heat. I'm just trying to square stuff up and clean up surfaces before I go on to the next step. So hopefully we can see this in the video. Yeah, you can see that in the video. As you can tell, I got pretty well equilateral distances there, guys, from center. Now, I did that by eye, but I do a lot of these, so I'm used to it. My advice to a beginner or a new guy just attempting this is to pick a reference point on the anvil to compare it to, whether it be the distance between the edge to the edge of the hardy hole, and make all your tines that length, or make a chalk mark or whatever it would be to make it the handiest for you to see exactly how long each tine's becoming. But these are all pretty close. I'm going to forge this one out just a smidgen more because it needs to be a little sharper pointed for the heart, and then we'll move on to the next. Okay, everyone, so I went ahead and straightened that leg out a little bit more where I wanted it, and now we're just going to start flattening these back out. Before we do, we're going to start kind of curving them a little bit. Right now, as we're at it, as we're sitting, this is going to make it a little easier, believe it or not. And we're just going to start hammering these legs, being careful with them. I didn't bring it out hot enough here, so I'll take another heat on that. When you're doing this, you want the legs really hot. The only difference is, the only problem with getting the legs really hot, or the tines of this part, is the fact that the tips want to take and heat up quite quickly. So you have to be really super careful that you don't burn them off. because burning off the tips will happen. So you just got to take your time, know where you're wanting to go with it before you pull it out of the fire, and then don't waste no time with it once you do. Wasting time looking at hot metal is just wasting all your energy that you put into the piece, so don't do that. Alright, we're getting her up to heat here. It's a little hotter. Alright. Alright, getting that all straightened out. It's going to take a moment to get this all straightened up the way I want it. That's okay. We've got the time. The interesting things about these legs is they want to twist on you when you straighten them back. So they're kind of a pain, but you can work them out where they look satisfactory. So you guys can see that just fine. So there we go. So got those two legs, that's the first stage. Next stage, I'll come back to y'all and we'll be at the small part of the horn of the anvil, and we'll go ahead and bend her up. Alrighty, we're nice and hot. We're just going to start bending this up, but we're not going to take this too far. I'm going to show you why here in a second. I'll show you a little different technique you can use on this to add a little extra flair to these. That actually looks pretty darn cool. So we're going to go like that for right now. Almost make a complete loop. And then I'll show you what I mean in the next clip to get at my aim. Essentially, I'm going to put a chamfer on the edge of this. And as I chamfer that and spread that out to give that a little more width, you're going to see some things happen, some pretty cool things. It's going to want to curl on you. It's going to curl tighter, because I'm putting a chamfer on the outside edge, so the outside edge is stretching while the inside's compressing. And you guys can see how that's hooking over there more. So now I'll come out with the next heat, and I'll put a chamfer on this other edge even more. As long as you work from the back here towards the front, it'll want to curl and scroll around on itself. We'll take another heat here. During this, you may have to take and stretch out the tines a little bit. Make sure we're still in focus. Looks like we're in focus, guys. I'm going to readjust you. Alright, there we are. Oh, the big trick is to make sure you keep your, you may have to open the tines up a little bit, spread them out back apart, go to the horn to do that. And I may just show you that here in this next clip. We're going to get this up hot enough to do what we need to do with it. So we're going to just spread out that bottom, that base. Keep stretching out that side and giving it a bevel. And as we do that, it's going to keep curving on around. And that's what we want. So I'll go over to the horn of the anvil and I'll show you what I mean about how to straighten this up. Or pull that little heart loop out. Done. So we're going to straighten this little heart loop out just by setting it on there, and we're going to hit the handle itself. And that's going to pry that loop out where we need it. We're going to do the same thing here. And then that'll allow us to go back over to the anvil and continue to curl things around the way we want to see them come around here. So if you don't want texture on this part when you're doing this, you decide, hey, you know, I've got enough texture here. I don't want to see, I want to get any more texture on this. I like how it is. You want to do this with a rawhide mallet. And, you know, that that will matter more to you there for doing that and getting in there. So, but as you can see, it's starting to form up. So we'll take one more heat on this. I'll dress it up a little bit more. And then that's how you get your heart. We'll take this last heat here. I'm going to start going ahead and popping up those little end screens there to the left and the right of this video, hopefully the center, when we trail out. But I thank everybody for watching this quick demonstration. These are very handy for finials on all sorts of stuff. You can use them on just about anything. But they're a super handy thing to do. They add a lot of decoration. And if you've got a wife or a husband, if you're a girl that he likes to get anniversary presents too, things of that nature, something with a heart on it just gives it that little bit of extra sentiment. So anyways, so that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. All's okay. All's well, it ends well. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.